Yep.
got a crosswind through there, and it put the car sideways. First it's looking at Reno, then it's looking at Salt Lake City. And anyway, went sideways like that 3 times real hard.
G'day, JP from My Mates Faster here. Today's guest is a bit of a hero of mine. He's got a record over 400 miles an hour. He's part of an elite group, and he's got a black cap and he wears it proudly. Please welcome Danny Thompson. Welcome, Danny Thompson, to My Mates Faster, mate. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Glad to participate for sure with a fellow land speeder.
Thank you. Mate, I'd like to start with how fast have you been?
Our official fastest record in AA fuel streamliner is 448.756. So out the door one way was 460. So, but those don't count. So the average between the two, a 446 on the down run and a 450 on the return run for a 450. So yeah, that was a good day.
Do you remember either of those runs, like, in your head, mate? Can you walk us through one a little bit, or?
I remember every run, every step, every second. But I guess the second. So the 446 was a good, pretty strong run. You know, the thing left the truck and it left good, and everything was going pretty good when it shifted into second gear. It's a 3-speed, 2 engines for people that didn't know. 2 engines, about 3,000 horsepower apiece, injected on nitro. And when it shifted into second gear, it got a bit sideways. So I had to pedal it for a second, but was able to get back in it pretty quick. And it went 446 out the door. So that run, the second run was a handful, I guess. So at 430 miles an hour, just past the 4 1/3 mark on the course, we got a crosswind coming off through you know well where the dip in the mountains are over there.
Yep.
Got a crosswind through there, and it put the car sideways. So it went 180 degrees sideways. So in other words, instead of looking at floating mountain, I was looking at those mountains to the left where the hole is. It went that far sideways, and pedal, out of the throttle a bit, and then it went the other way. So first it's looking at Reno, then it's looking at Salt Lake City, and anyway, went sideways like that 3 times real hard. And typically, what you do in Bonneville racing, when it gets sideways, you pull the parachute. When you pull the parachute, it separates the center of pressure from the center of gravity more, and it gives the thing stability when it's in yaw or sideways.
Yep.
So, but that's what you're supposed to do. And our driver wasn't smart enough to do that. So the third time, when it came back the third time from sideways, as it came back, and I could now see floating mountain again. And that's when you can't see the blue line or anything because you're sideways. You always line I always line back up on floating mountain. That's and I always sit on the start line and look left side, right side, where is straight from the start line. So you pick that point. So when it came back, I picked the throttle back up, and the 4-wheel drive pulled the thing straight, and the thing went 460 miles an hour. So good ride. Good ride.
It was a good day, mate. Well, I was actually there for your qualifying run, and I remember the day because I'm going to wind it back a bit, because I'd met you in 2015, in Huntington Beach, and we'd met a couple of times over the years, and in the rain, and you had a couple of issues. You might have spun a bearing one year or hurt a crank or something, and I know how hard it is to keep sponsors happy, for a little bike, let alone a 40-foot streamliner. And when you're not doing anything, you're not performing, it's pretty hard to resell the dream every year, isn't it? And in 2018, Joanne and I were there running the little bike, and we knew you were running first, so we waited. We waited to watch you run, and I'm going to call it, I think you're the people's racer because of the story. When the push truck pulled off, as through the haze of diesel smoke, and the Challenger accelerated, the cheer from the crowd, there would have been 200-300 people, I guess, on the start line. So it was a big moment. It was one of those things that sticks out memorably in my land speed racing career. So. And I was so happy you got it done, mate. I was so stoked for you. Anyway, then I think later on I was parked beside you in Impound, so it was a good day already.
Yeah, you were. We're both in Impound. Impound's a pretty cool place to be.
Yeah, preferred parking, isn't it?
Yeah, preferred parking.
Yeah. Now, I remember the first time I went to the Salt. I know you come from, land speed heritage. Your dad being a famous land speed racer, the first American to 400 miles an hour, amongst many other things on the Salt and many other motorsport activities. Do you remember the first time you saw the Salt? I'm not sure if you were a baby or you went there as a teenager, or how did that happen?
No, I mean, the first time my dad went, of course, was I think 58 and 59. I didn't go to the Salt until 1968.
Okay.
So that still makes me be like 800 years old. But so that was the first time, and that's when we were running the Mustangs up there. So also, especially in the old days, they used to run a lot of endurance tests up there. So it was a 10-mile circle, and it was typically behind where the pits currently are now. And so it was a 10-mile circle that my dad ran. That was the introduction to the 1969 Ford Mustang, the Mach 1.
Yep.
And my dad and Danny and Gaius drove 24 hours nonstop and averaged 156 miles an hour on a 10-mile circle. So I think 1968, and spent some time up there. And it was kind of funny because I wasn't allowed to race. So I wasn't even allowed to sit in the car. Oh. But I could be up there, and Ford was up there. It was a big deal. I mean, we had all the Ford executives up there, and also, I mean, it was a mass. Only us sat on the Salt, but a massive effort. So we didn't have lights, right? So you're running 24 hours. So you know what smudge spots are, like they put out in the orange groves and stuff. So that was my job, is to go around and light all these smudge spots around the 10-mile circle so the guys could see at night. But I wasn't allowed to get in the car or in anything, just work on them. That's all. And I was young, so I didn't really do any meaningful work. I mean, waxing cars and lighting smudge spots, but I was there. And that's what was so cool. And
they look like they sound like great memories, mate. And I can tell by the smile on your face that they were good times.
It was good. It was good. So Gaius is driving with my dad, and Danny and Gaius was pretty famous. You know, he wasn't famous then, but famous race car driver, Indianapolis and Le Mans, and all sorts of different stuff. So my dad finally said, "Okay, you can take one lap around in the Mustang, sitting on the floor on the right side with Gaius drive." I said, "Well, it's better than nothing, So this will be cool." So Gaius and I take off, and we go about a mile, just kind of out of the horizon sight. And Gaius pulls over with motor run. I go, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Your turn to drive." Right.
Oh,
so
really?
We switched spots, and I drove around to about the 8-mile mark, and didn't spin or anything like that. And he's coaching me through all this. And then we stopped, and then we changed drivers, and we went back to the pits. And I had a great smile. My dad never did figure out why my mile was so big. I got it right. So
there you go. Yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Yeah, good times. After that, you did some racing, some midget racing and some other stuff. You did a lot of years of that. What other sort of stuff did you get into?
When I left the house at 18, and I moved up, I went skiing in Mammoth for the weekend. You guys have been there, right?
Yep, been there.
Yeah. So went to Mammoth for the weekend and came home 5 years later, and skied and played, but I couldn't race, and that's all I wanted to do. My dad wanted me to go back to school and be a lawyer. So I could get him out of all his fistfights and everything. Anyway, that was a start. So when I was up there in Mammoth, I bought a motorcycle and I started racing motocross. And we had the Mammoth Mountain Motocross is one of the more well-known motocrosses, not pro like Supercross type motocross. But anyway, I got to race up there a lot, and did pretty well. So it was it was a good start to racing. I went from there. Then I went back to work for my dad, and as a fabricator, young fabricator, and built off-road trucks. From there, I raced Formula cars. I raced Formula Atlantic, which is the same as like Formula 2 in Europe, and won a championship there, and Super V, and was second in the championship there. Sprint cars, drove just about anything I could get my hands on or in. Close.
Those sprint cars look like they're a fun drive.
I tell you, I thought, well, I'd done a lot of off-road racing by then, by the time I got in the sprint car. And Ascot was right here in Southern California, famous racetrack. And pretty cool because you could go there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, check in, race until midnight, and have a great time and be home and have the next day off. So it was the competition was unbelievable. But I got out there and I thought, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to show these guys how this stuff is done. And I got in that sprint car and I'm warming up on they put the rookies out in the mud. And I came off, I putted through turn 2 and I stood on the gas going down the back straight. And that thing scared me to death. I mean, it came up, it got to turn 3 so fast I wasn't sure what to do. But anyway, it took a while to adapt to that. So I was certainly overconfident when I started, and it showed me that I knew nothing.
Then at some stage you got into the Mustang. I read at Bonneville, set a record in a Mustang. I guess is that when you made your way back to Bonneville, or did you go back before then? Or
I did go back before then. So actually Ferguson, who you know the Fergusons, right?
Sure.
That's who I drive for now. I was up there and I went to visit Jim Travis, and I had given him my dad's pumpkin seat, and he restored it and lengthened it, and he said, "Well, come on up and watch us." And I can't remember what year that was, maybe 2003 or something. Anyway, went up there and got a chance to drive that car. First, I drove Ferguson's car, but it broke right away, so I didn't get a whole lap or anything. But it planted that seed.
Sure.
You know, it was like, why did I let that happen? Because now it became, you know how Bonneville is. You know, it became an addiction. And I went back up the next few years with Travis and was fortunate to get a couple records in the pumpkin seed. I should remember all those things. But anyway, we got a record at 240 or something like that. And then after that, then I went to Mustangs, and I drove for a farmer in Oklahoma named Brent Pike. And his vision of what it was, when my dad and my guys were up there in '68 running those Mustangs, they had three different ones: a blue one, a red one, and a yellow one. And one had a blowing motor in it, different classes and everything. Sure. So Brent wanted to emulate that. So we went up the first year with a blue one, and we set a record at, I think, 250 miles an hour in a Mustang, a door car, which was, pretty fast. And anyway, we went back. We were going to do three different cars, and did the second car, and we got set another record. We bumped it up a few miles an hour. And then we did the third car, which was a yellow car, and 264 miles an hour on the first lap. It got just a little bit sideways. And like I was talking about earlier,
yep.
When you get sideways, you pull the parachute. And this is before I knew anything that you know about racing and all that kind of circuit racing and sprint car racing and off-road racing and all that stuff. Anything you know about all that stuff, you got to throw it out the window of Bonneville. It doesn't count. And that's what it got me in trouble, because that thing in the Mustang, 264 miles an hour, and it got sideways. I go, sideways is okay, but sideways, I've been driving sideways my whole life. That's no problem. Well, it wasn't okay. And that thing took off and went 25 feet in the air. Yeah. It flew 1,100 feet through the air. It rolled 7 times, went through the 5 upside down at 246 miles an hour. A brand new car. That was its first run. It had to do one checkout pass, but that was his first run, and it was a thrill.
It's quite funny on social media. Sometimes you'll see some drag races, I guess, and I come from a drag racing background, so I shouldn't bag them out, but uneducated drag racers, not all of them, and they'll say, oh, that car's only going 300 mile an hour, a fuel car will go 350 in the quarter. What's the big deal? But they don't seem to understand, do they, the what's needed to go over a mile, and to live that long.
Yeah, I mean, when you go, like when you're running 400 or 400 plus, it's when you get to that 5 mile mark, I tell you what, it's like you let out a big breath and then you're going, okay, yeah. I got through that part. Now, is the parachute going to come out? Is the thing going to stop? Is it going to get sideways? So it's that 400 mile an hour deal is, well, not just 400, any speed, whether you're running 2 mile, 3 mile, whatever it is up at Bonneville, it's always an adventure.
Yeah, sure. I was talking to Rocky, as I said to you before we started, and he was saying he wants a black hat. He wants that 400 this year in Bolivia, so he's very envious of that black hat.
Yeah, well, they don't come cheap.
No, they don't come cheap. They're an elite, not a very big group either, is it? Really, the black hat brigade.
I think 12 piston car black hat guys.
Okay.
Five of us maybe alive now, something like that. So
yeah,
and I'm really fortunate because I got a black hat in 2 different cars. So
that's you have now too. That's very true. Yeah, okay. What keeps you coming back, Danny? What's the drive there? Like, we get beat up. It's a hard sport. You've had the rain out in 15. I saw that. I had the rain out in 15. We've both broken $2 parts. You sit around all year waiting to run and to have your shot. What keeps that drive coming? How do you do that?
It's I guess all I've ever done my whole life is raced. I don't know how to do anything else but weld and race. I'm too old. I'm not pretty enough. I don't smell well enough to go big time racing anymore, or not that I ever make big time, but nobody's going to use me in a commercial for a perfume company or anything, So you want to go back. It's such a thrill. It's so hard. It takes so much effort, and so many things have to go right. You can't even have one thing go a little bit wrong and make it. And what a lot of people don't know about Bonneville is to get a record, you got to do it twice. So once you get it done once, then you got to go do it again. George Poteet told me when I first went up there, he goes, Dan, he says, you don't know how hard that second run is. And I didn't, but I found out, so I think it's just having success there or attempting to have success there, how hard you have to work there. It's an addiction. It's a salt addiction, and it's a good addiction.
Oh, it's a good addiction. It is.
Yeah.
To me, it's and also it's a sport where an amateur can take on the best ever. Really, at what other level can you go up against the best ever? And if you got, it's still engineering, isn't it? It's still what you think can run. It's not cookie class racing.
And there's not too many classes or forms of racing still where you can just go run your stuff as long as you adhere to the rules for whatever class you're running in. And that's another thing I like about the streamlining classes. You don't have any rules besides, being safe and safety rules. And so you can be as innovative as you want. And that's so much racing now is cookie cut racing. I mean, even Formula One, the Indy cars and NASCAR and all that stuff. But it seems like about off-road and Bonneville is pretty much you can do whatever you want. You can build your own stuff and you can be, and it's funny because you go up there and you'll see somebody in line and maybe that person might be whatever, a plumber or an electrician or a lawyer or whatever. And those people have their own ideas on what's the best thing in the world. And you look at it and you go to yourself, there's no way in the whole world that can work. But it's that guy's idea or that girl's idea. And it's like, cool. Do it.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it'll work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? You've been a rookie a long time ago now. What do you see? What's the biggest mistake you see people coming to the salt making?
Well, I think everybody thinks it's really easy. Now, it was a long time ago as a rookie, but last year when I drove Ferguson's car down Mirage, I'd never been there before, and I had to take the rookie test and all that stuff. So, and I screwed up, and I had to go to the principal's office. I had to go see Lee Kennedy, and I got schooled because I didn't pull the parachute quick enough. You got to be patient, and I think one of the biggest things is if you're going to go Bonneville racing, I really think it's important to go up there and go for 3 or 4 days, not racing. Go up there and hang out, talk to people, and everybody's so kind up there. And I'm sure it's the same down with you guys. It's just like you can wander in anybody's pits and they'll talk to you, they'll explain things to you, and you can hang out with them. But you got to learn to do that. It's not just the racing, jumping in the car and going fast. It's, do you have the right trailer? Can you get to the other end? Do you know how to go to end? When I first went with Challenger 2, I thought I knew a lot of stuff, and I was lost. If it wasn't for my cook at first, giving me some instruction and helping me out. And I've been to Bonneville and I've raced there before, but it's the same thing. I mean, we got the impound the first day, which was a pretty miracle, and we didn't have a tent. And I got all these guys down there changing, going through the whole car in the sun. And, I'm burning everybody down. It's all those little things, and you need to go there and kind of learn and pay attention and talk to people. And it's so cool because everybody will talk to you. Yeah. There's not really any prima donnas and stuff up there, I don't think.
No, that's right. I think I usually say, because I'm the bikes community, I usually say, if you're going to go there, go on a street bike, something that's nice and easy, it's comfortable. In Australia, we're allowed to ride to the start line as well if you're on a street bike, so it makes it simple for them. It's not too hard, and I definitely think that repetition and being around it, like you say, for a few days or a couple of years before you race is definitely an advantage. We have a couple of issues, Danny, at Land Speed Racing across the world. We're an aging community, all of us, and no one's getting any younger. What have we got to do to get young guys or young guys and girls, I should say, into the sport?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I don't have an answer per se. I mean, one of the things that people need to know is motorsports is so expensive, and it doesn't matter what form it is. Bonneville racing is probably maybe the least expensive. A lot of those things you can do, like you said, go up with a stock motorcycle and pass tech and do that, or go up there with your Honda. As long as you read the rule book, you'll get a rule book. That's the first thing you got to do. Get a rule book, read the rules, and you can go up on the real light end. And I'll tell you a quick story. So Valerie and I, we qualified at 446 miles an hour, and we're at our return run. The next morning, we're sitting in the impound. And we got all these guys, and we're thrashing, trying to warm up 2 engines and get everything ready, fuel, all that stuff. And we're thrashing. There's a guy with a Carmen Ghia, right? And there's this Carmen Ghia sitting over, almost parked next to us, and nobody's there. And Valerie goes, "What do you think they forgot to come, or what do you think happened?" And this is in a little bit of a calm moment that we got as we're talking to each other. It was about 5 minutes before 7 when we had to pull out of impound to go down to the start line. And here comes this guy and his wife in this station wagon, and they pull into impound. The guy gets out with his helmet, gets into the car, and he turns the key and goes to start. and Valerie's going, "There's a lot to be said for that."
Yeah, there is a lot to be said.
A lot to be said.
So, he had a good breakfast too, that guy.
Yeah, he did. He didn't have to be up at 3:00 with nobody in town.
Yeah.
But that's the point, is if you go like that and you start to get a feel for what it's like and everything, like going and just trying to go fast, really fast, like in a big car or something. No.
You've seen the deterioration of the salt, mate. I don't usually go into this too much because there's a lot of good people out there, working on this. I know there's been a big social campaign of late pushing Save the Salt and trying to spread it a bit further. So I thought I'd give it a mention today. I haven't mentioned it previously. That I hope someone listens to this video and it's someone in power anyway. And the Bonneville Salt Flats are an American icon and definitely a place that should be saved. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Oh boy, we would have to do 15 podcasts in a row to get my thoughts out of them. But it's. When I first went there in '68, the salt was 2 foot thick. Now, I don't know, an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches in spots. And last year, it was so depressing because it was gray. And when you drove from the pits to Land's End, there was dust. It wasn't salt dust; it was dust and dirt, and it just looks ugly and gray. Allison Voke is doing a really good job making a lot of good points on social media and stuff, and her dad. Larry Vogt. And some of those guys that have been around forever and ever, and they've been pressing for this for a long time. Something needs to be done. The problem is with the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management in the United States, kind of runs that property, and you finally get somebody educated, they understand what's happening, and about every 3 or 4 years, and they replace that person with a new one. Then they got to re-educate that one. And it's all about money. The mining companies pay money to mine. It's a forgotten deal, and it's too late to save it. You can slow it down. You can't fix it.
Yeah,
there's no way to fix it. It took millions of years to make it, and you can't. But you can still slow it down. And if we can get, after Riley sold out, Riley is the mining company that's across the I-80 freeway there. Well, let's say sold out, the new company that took over, I don't know the politics within how all that works. They haven't pumped in, I think, 6 years now, and it's another winter that's gone. And I go to the meetings at SEMA and stuff like that, but until we get somebody up in whatever it is in the government high enough that controls a lot of that stuff, until we get them to understand what it is that is losing a natural resource, a natural wonder. You guys got one, we got one, Bolivia has one, but I don't know. It's sad.
It is sad. Yeah, I know Alison's doing a lot of work with with that podcast series, and I think maybe just the more awareness. Hopefully, someone is watching one day and ticks the right box to have the right people start to do something and slow it down. Your heroes growing up, mate. Obviously, your dad. My dad's one of my heroes too. He doesn't like it when I say it. He says, "Go away," But
I got your dad's haircut now.
Yeah, I've got my dad's haircut. What about your other heroes, mate, in land speed?
Well, land speed, certainly Al Teague.
Yeah,
he's a tremendous hero of mine. And my dad.
That car sounded good too, didn't it?
Oh boy, I tell you what, there's nothing better than a blown fuel Hemi.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah, we kidded with Nish a couple of years ago. We were side by side, and we were both going for that C record. And he started that Chevrolet of his, and it sounds really good. And it had some pop in it and stuff. And we kept kidding him. I said, "What is that? A starter motor for a Chrysler?" But I don't know. There's nothing better than a fuel motor at Bonneville.
For Al Teague, on the list?
Probably number one on the list.
Okay.
And of course, my dad's number one, and then Al Teague. And Danny Thompson, because he did some stuff at Bonneville with my dad. And he's my all-time favorite race car driver in the world for every aspect. You cannot mention Bonneville without mentioning Mr. Poteet. That guy, I mean, he was competition for me when we were running together, but he wasn't. I mean, so we were in different classes, but you always want to beat the baddest man there. George Poteet is the baddest man that's ever been at Bonneville.
Yeah.
So you got to put him high on that list. The guy's been over 400 miles an hour, like maybe over 50 or 40.
Maybe, yeah.
What George did and what Steve Watt did and that whole team. I mean, like I said, they were competition for us, but they were. Those two would probably be the top of the list, or the first two names that would come in.
No, they're good. Both champions there for sure, mate. You're in the Ferguson car now. We've talked about the Challenger a bit. What's next for Danny and the Ferguson team?
So we have, it's pretty cool. And I'll go into this shirt. See this 406, right?
Yep.
My dad went 406.6 miles an hour in 1960. First American to go over 400 and didn't get a record, broke on the return. Then when I got into the 400 mile an hour club in 2016, I went 406.7, right? So I kicked his ass by 1/10 of 1 mile.
Yeah.
You're not talking about too many people that have gone over 400. Now, last year in Ferguson's car, we went 406.1.
Wow.
So what are the chances of that happening? The number 406. So then Valerie, my wife, she said, we need to do a shirt that says 406. So the shirt has, this is the front of it, and then it's got Mickey, Danny, and Don on the front
cool.
of it, because those three cars have all gone 406.
Yeah, sure.
So it's a pretty magic number. On the back of the shirt, it's got a picture of Bonneville Will up there and a slot machine with 406 across the number.
Cool.
What are the chances of that actually happening? So anyway, I got off on that. But so Ferguson's car, so we have the AA record in my car at 448, the A record in Ferguson's car at 406.1, the B record in Ferguson's car at 385, the C record in Ferguson's car at, I think, 374. And now we're building a D motor, and we're going to go after the D motor record, which is, I think, 323. And then we're also going to build an E motor and go after the E motor record, which is like 305 or something like that.
Okay.
So and the ABCD, for people that don't know, are the engine sizes.
Yeah.
So AA is anything over 500 inches, and then A is 500 inches, and on down the line. So kind of we're kind of doing what George did in blown fuel, and we're doing it in unblown fuel. So
yeah, sure. No, it's a pretty car, isn't it? It's the signage and the writing on it. It's a lovely looking car for sure.
Yeah.
It's been you've done well there.
Yeah. It's been, we've picked it up, I think, 56 miles an hour. Well, the C record that we beat last year was Vesco's record. And I think it was 335, and we bumped it to 374 or something. So we've been putting pretty good dents in the deal. So hopefully they'll stay for a while, but those records are made for the next person in line.
They're made to be broken, or they're borrowed. They're only borrowed, aren't they? They say.
Yeah, they're only borrowed. Yep. Only borrowed for sure. So.
Yeah, great stuff. Danny, I look forward to seeing you August this year in the Ferguson car. I'm hoping to get over there and run the bike. And, mate, I've got to say thank you. Since 2015, we've hung out half a dozen times, and it's always been a pleasure to hang out with you, and thanks for sharing your time in America and today. And I wish you guys and the Ferguson team all the best. And thanks for being on My Mate's Faster, and hopefully we can get the land speed love out there and get a few newcomers and save that salt.
Perfect. Save that salt. And like you say, bring some new people in, bring some guys and some girls in. I mean, it's all equal up there. Everybody's got the same chance. So, young people, come on out. Let's go. Whether it's in Australia or here, let's keep the sport alive.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's the greatest motorsport in the world, mate. And I'll see you at Huntington Beach on a Saturday morning for a coffee.
Sounds good. All right.
Okay, Danny.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. See ya.
Bye.